BBC iPlayer.
Now the BBC News with Jane Hill.
The FBI says the suspect in the New Orleans vehicle attack is a US Army veteran from Texas. He's named as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar. 15 people were killed and dozens injured when a pickup truck was driven into crowds celebrating the new year.
We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We're aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates.
Tonight, this city's historic centre remains sealed off as police investigate the attacker's background and search for any accomplices.
And also on the programme, dozens of flood warnings are in place after torrential rain. Greater Manchester Police declared a major incident. Testing the DNA of ancient bones, how a new research method could revolutionise our understanding of British history. And come on in, the water's freezing. Seeing in the new year with a traditional dip. Hello, good evening. The suspect in the New Orleans vehicle attack has been identified by the FBI as a 42-year-old Army veteran from Texas. Investigators say they believe Shamsuddin Jabbar wasn't acting alone and they're looking into whether he had accomplices. It's believed Jabbar drove a pickup truck at high speed into large crowds, killing 15 people and leaving dozens of others injured. He opened fire before being shot dead by police. The FBI says a flag for the Islamic State group was found in the vehicle. And police say they found a number of improvised explosive devices in the French Quarter neighbourhood where this attack took place. Our correspondent Tom Bateman is in New Orleans tonight on Bourbon Street. Tom.
Well, the scene itself, Jane, remains locked down, the very historic centre of this city, and the point at which, if you look behind this large police van on this strip here, was where that white pickup truck sped up, gained speed, took a right turn down Bourbon Street, perhaps the best known thoroughfare in New Orleans, and then ploughed into crowds on the scene there. Now, in the last few minutes, we have seen more police arrive here as they continue to scour the scene for clues in this city so used to celebration that saw a night of violence erupt.
New Orleans at New Year's Eve. This part of the city is its best known, a tourism and nightlife hotspot. Just after 3 a.m, chaos unfolds. The first signs of panic as police race to the scene. What they find, much of which is too graphic to show, is the immediate aftermath of a ramming attack. Officers say a man in a pickup truck ploughed into a crowd, trying to run over as many people as he could. He then unleashed a shootout with police, who fired back and killed him.
It did involve a man driving a pickup truck down Bourbon Street at a very fast pace, and it was very intentional behavior. This man was trying to run over as many people as he possibly could. He was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
A British tourist, Steve Hyde, was in the city to celebrate his birthday.
I was in a bar 15, 20 metres from Bourbon, and we were all having a great time. I'd been in there for maybe 2.5 hours at that point. And then we heard shots and saw people running past the window, and didn't really know, what was going on. Obviously, we heard the shots. We knew it wasn't going to be good.
Dozens were wounded, including 2 police officers hit by gunfire. Police evacuated a wide area and say they found a potential explosive device in the truck and other possible devices outside it before they carried out controlled explosions. The FBI says the attack is being investigated as an act of terrorism. At the latest press conference, officials have given more information about the suspect.
The subject has been identified as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, a U.S.-born citizen from Texas. He was driving a Ford pickup truck, which appears to be rented, and we are working to confirm how the subject became in possession of this vehicle. An ISIS flag was located on the trailer hitch of the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential associations and affiliations with terrorist organizations.
Investigators are scouring the scene for clues as further details emerge about Shamsuddin Jabbar, including his US military background. This afternoon, President Biden gave his reaction.
I've spoken to every member of the agency, from the CIA to our national security team, to our FBI, NSC, and we're gathering all the, and I spent a lot of time with the government, with the mayor.
What was your reaction when you heard what happened?
Well, the reaction was one of anger and frustration. Thank you.
He says the White House is offering its full support to the city, which is now ushering in the new year, grieving its dead and praying for the wounded.
And Tom, just talk to us a little bit more about the feeling there in the city, the mood.
Well, there is an inevitable sense of shock, of course. I was just chatting to one man on the sidewalk here who said that he was in the French Quarter exactly the point at which all of this happened, just an hour before it took place, speaking of his sense of relief, but also wanting to return to this point, as many others have actually, to try and pay their respects, but also get a sense of the developments as they're unfolding. It's also worth noting, though, that, this is an extremely bustling and very popular place full of bars, nightlife, and we have seen, and we heard from the police actually saying they wanted life to carry on. There's a big college football game that's was due to take place today. It's been delayed for 24 hours, but it will still go ahead. And I think what we're sensing is a sense of resilience that this city wants to try and show that it's carrying on.
And that comment, Tom, from the FBI that the suspect wasn't necessarily acting alone, what more do we know about their investigation?
That's right. I mean, the FBI said that they believe that there are accomplices in this. Now, they didn't give any more details other than to say that they are searching for, in their words, some bad people, at the same time as trying to secure this city. They will, of course, be looking extremely closely at the background of Shamsuddin Jabbar as they continue that investigation. We now know, and the army has confirmed, that he spent a decade in the US military. He had deployed to Afghanistan for around a year from 2009. Also emerged as a YouTube video that he himself made in recent years, saying that he was an estate agent, an IT specialist. That's what he did in the army. And also, I think, giving the investigators further lines of clues as they continue to scour this scene, try and secure the city and look into the background of their main perpetrator, the main suspect in this attack.
Tom, thanks very much. Tom Bateman in New Orleans tonight. A vehicle has exploded outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, killing one person and injuring 7. Police said an electric vehicle, a Tesla truck, was parked at the front of the hotel. Smoke was seen coming from it before it exploded. The driver was killed. Tesla is owned by President Trump's ally, Elon Musk. In a statement, he said the company's senior team is investigating. A mass shooting in Montenegro has left at least 10 people dead, including 2 children. Police said the suspect had been drinking heavily before opening fire in a restaurant in the town of Cetinje in the south of the country. He's then reported to have killed others, including a member of his own family, at another location. The suspect is still at large and a manhunt is underway. Here, more than 50 flood warnings are still in place tonight across England, Wales and Scotland after torrential rain hit many parts of the country. Greater Manchester Police declared a major incident after widespread flooding, with Bolton, Wigan and Stockport among the worst affected areas. Emergency workers had to free people trapped in their homes and vehicles were left underwater. Yunus Muller reports from Stockport.
Heavy rain and wind to bring in the new year, and widespread flooding. In Greater Manchester, a major incident was declared. Meadow Mill in Stockport has more than 200 apartments. Outside, vehicles were submerged in water. Inside, residents like El Henderson trapped without running water or power.
We woke up, I think it was about 6:30 this morning, to just a complete swimming pool outside. What should be my car park is now essentially the River Mersey. So that wasn't a nice thing to wake up to on the 1st of January, to be honest.
When we got here, the water was probably 3 to 4 feet deep. You could probably see that the cars were largely submerged. So naturally that creates a number of challenges for us in order to work in those conditions.
Major roads have been flooded. This was the relief road to Manchester Airport. Some had to be rescued. Part of the M56 and the M60 were also closed. Almost a month's worth of rain has fallen in parts of the northwest in the last 48 hours, and support is being given to anyone here who needs emergency accommodation. River levels are running high. This was the River Bain in Leyburn in North Yorkshire. In Cheshire, homeowners in Lymm were flooded despite defences being in place.
There's absolutely nothing you can do. It just comes in and it just comes through the floor, and you just watch it and watch it and watch it, and it's just awful.
Across the region, motorists have had to abandon their vehicles. This wasn't the start to 2025 that many had hoped for. Eunice Muller, BBC News.
Nearly 37,000 people crossed the English Channel in small boats in 2024, according to new figures from the Home Office. The figure is the second highest on record and an increase of 25% on the previous year. Last year was also the deadliest on record, with at least 77 people dying as they attempted the crossing, as Simon Jones reports.
The boats have been getting bigger, with more and more people dangerously packed onto them, risking their lives in the world's busiest shipping lane with the goal of reaching the UK. This was Christmas Day, where more than 450 migrants made the crossing.
To see that many people, they was sitting all round the edge, all down for the middle. They had their feet, some of them dragging in the water. So it was massively overloaded. And we actually stopped our engines and sort of sat in that position, just watching that, just to make sure that nothing, had sort of gone wrong.
In 2024, a total of 36,816 people reached the UK on small boats. That represents an increase of 25% on 2023, though it's a fall of 20% on 2022. The mantra of the Conservative government, stopping the boats, has been replaced by the Labour government with a promise to smash the gangs organising the crossings. It's here at the Home Office that the daily figures for arrivals are poured over. Labour says the previous Conservative government left an appalling legacy of broken border security, allowing criminal gangs to take hold. The Conservatives say that Labour's decision to scrap the plan to send some asylum seekers to Rwanda means there's effectively no deterrent. Last year was the deadliest on record for crossings. The French authorities say more than 75 people lost their lives. At least 3 people died on Sunday when their boat got into difficulty off the coast of northern France.
What the government needs to do is not just try and smash the gangs through enforcement activity. It needs to continue to do that, but also critically put in place legal routes so that people fleeing the war in Sudan, for example, or tyrannical rule in Afghanistan are able to come here safely without having to take dangerous crossings.
The government says it's investing in its new border security command with the latest tech. And tonight it's announced it will introduce new legislation that could see those suspected of organising these crossings banned from travelling or using social media. It's likely to be a big political issue once again this year, even though the numbers making journeys this way are far smaller than the legal migration figures. Simon Jones, BBC News.
A new DNA technique is being used to re-examine key moments from Britain's history. Researchers are now able to study changes to DNA in human bones that are hundreds of years old. One historian has told the BBC it'll revolutionise our understanding of the past. Here's our science correspondent Palab Ghosh.
Poking away in the ear socket of a small skull fragment. It's from someone who lived more than 1,500 years ago in Yorkshire. The scientists are looking for a tiny bone that's the best preserved bit of all. And using a new technique, they can find out more about the individual and where their ancestors came from.
We want to understand many of these different epochs in British history, from the Roman period to when the people referred to as the Anglo-Saxons arrived, through the Viking Age period, and see how all of this shaped the ancestry and diversity of the nation.
Professor Skoglund is working with archaeologists.
Something there as well.
Here in the mud, carefully sifting through bones at an Anglo-Saxon burial site in Polton in Cheshire. They find a skull and other human remains. The DNA they gather from them will tell them so much more about Britain's history.
It's going to be revolutionary. This method will allow us to see the type of relations that are being formed with the native population. Are they cooperative? Is there interbreeding? Are a lot of native sub-Romano Brits able to make their way into the elite?
DNA is a spirally molecule that can be read like a barcode, and it changes over generations. So far, scientists have been able to identify only very big changes that take place over thousands of years. For example, the physical changes that take place as a result of human evolution. But now, they've been able to identify more recent changes that take place over hundreds of years. So they can now tell when and how different groups of people migrated and how they interacted with native populations.
Well, we've been good at the deep time past, or sort of average time past. Now it's giving us that opportunity to look at more recent humans and people and community and migration. And it's been a big gap for us. Although we could look at their DNA, we couldn't really look that closely into their ancestry. It didn't make as much sense. It was too much of a mishmash.
There are thousands of human remains in Britain's museums to analyse. Each has their own tale to tell. The new discovery, published in the journal Nature, will enable scientists to hear their stories and rewrite the history books. Palab Ghosh, BBC News.
Now, football and Arsenal have moved up to second in the Premier League, 6 points behind leaders Liverpool, after an entertaining 3-1 win over Brentford. Katie Gornall was watching.
In the race for the title, Arsenal are playing catch-up, determined to keep the summit in sight. Brentford heads were spinning. Against the best defence in the league, there was no way back for Brentford. Arsenal have made the perfect start to the new year. Katie Gornall, BBC News.
Now, the bad weather meant several traditional New Year's Day outdoor swims were cancelled, but not in Edinburgh. These hardy swimmers braved the annual Looney Duck, as it's known, plunging into the Firth of Forth estuary. The tradition began 38 years ago. And there was similar courage in Newquay in Cornwall as people there took a New Year's dip. That takes us to the weather. Here's Ben Rich. Hello.
Cold for the New Year dippers. It is turning even colder this evening, but some of us this evening have had a chance to get a glimpse of the Northern Lights. This was how it looked in the Western Isles, but even further south, parts of Wales and the Midlands got to see some of this a little bit earlier on this evening. You can see the clear skies following on behind this band of cloud. That is what brought all the rain and all the flooding for some of us today. Those clear skies following on behind, some wintry showers and this cold air digging in. And this is going to be with us for the next couple of days. So those temperatures continuing to drop as we head through the rest of the night. Where we've seen rain and snow falling today, I think we could have some icy stretches to take us into tomorrow morning. Some wintry showers continuing, temperatures widely below freezing. Some places maybe down to -6 or -7 Celsius. So watch out for that ice first thing tomorrow if you are heading back to work. But a beautiful looking day, a lot of sunshine around, some wintry showers down the east coast, some for Northern Ireland, West Wales, maybe the southwest of England, frequent snow showers continuing in the north of Scotland, and I think there will be some places, particularly in the northern half of the UK, where temperatures tomorrow do not get above freezing all day long. It stays cold into Friday, some sunshine, some wintry showers. Those showers a mix of rain, sleet and snow, but I have to show you what is going to happen at the weekend, because it looks like we'll see this area of low pressure swirling into the cold air. That is going to bring some wind and some rain, but it may, for some of us, bring significant snow. Stay tuned to the forecast. Jane.
Ben. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. And that is it from the team for tonight. Good night.
Well, we know it wasn't an accident.
What do you need support?
I do